Kazoo with Shearman Builders, and we're going to show you how to reduce the risk of wall ignition. Today we are addressing the exterior wall of this house, which is currently a wooden siding. Now, the vulnerability for wooden siding is that during an ember storm, embers are going to hit the vertical surface and fall down. And as you can see, at the bottom of the wall here, we have a collection of debris, very dry, very flammable. So what we want to do is make the wall itself non-combustible. How are we going to do that? I'll show you how. Step 1, design and planning. It's important to consider what substrate you're working with. In this case, we have a flat profile that we can go right on top of with a little bit of flashing and building paper underneath it. If we had beveled siding, we would actually have to remove the beveled siding before putting our hardy on top of it, or our fiber cement. In this case, we're using a fiber cement that has a cedar finish on it, so it replicates the look and the profile is thin enough that it'll work with our existing trim. In some cases, you'll have to take out the trim and put in a larger trim board to meet the new profile of your new wall surface. Very important to consider how water is going to interact. So your flashing and your building paper lapping is very important. So step 2, prepare the surface for flashing and building wrap. The client decided to replace only the lower half of the wall to keep the project within their budget. This works because we've addressed the most vulnerable area of this wall, where the lower area meets the deck. And we're cladding our hardy, non-combustible fiber cement board below the trim line. What we need to consider for our flashing is how is water going to interact with this complex of materials. We're going to add 2 layers of Z flashing. One behind the wood and over the trim, another one behind the trim and over the siding. We are attaching a little flap of building paper to the back of our Z flashing, so that when we slide it up under the existing siding, we have coverage to make sure that there's not going to be any water penetrating behind. So we're making a point to flash around our window just to make sure, if all else fails, there's no possibility of water getting in. All right, so we've finished our flashing, and now we're on to step 3, installing fiber cement siding. We've made sure to create a water impermeable surface underneath the flashing and underneath our board. So now we're ready to install. Let's go do it. Which we're also using a fiber cement for the door trim on this.
Put it back.
So we're ready to install, and we're going to go ahead and nail along our stud lines. We've identified where they are, and we're ready to go. You guys good? Okay, here we go. So we're installing our fiber cement over an existing wooden wall. We need to make sure that we're protecting the under edge of that wall. Where the hardy or the fiber cement stops, we want to make sure that this under area can't be exposed to flame. So we've custom cut a little flashing to slide up in there so that that wooden edge is now covered by a non-combustible layer. All right, so now that we've got it all in there, we're going to go ahead and nail it up. Step 4, caulking and painting. Right here, Em is caulking all of our horizontal connections. Anywhere where you have a plane change, you're going to want to have flashing. And then if the material is changing, you're going to back it up with some caulking. So let's review what we've accomplished here. During a wildfire, embers tend to hit and bounce off of walls. They can start fires where they land, particularly in receptive fuel beds like bushes up against the home or leaf piles at the base of the wall. If you've removed the vegetation from the zone 0, that's the first 5 feet surrounding the home, leaf litter can still be a potential ignition source where it accumulates naturally against structures. If leaves were to gather and be ignited by embers, their flame length would not be able to reach very far up this wall. By changing the lower half of this wall to a non-combustible siding, we have significantly reduced the risk of ground fire igniting this wall. I think it looks great.